Yes, it is. Good afternoon. If you will come and have a seat, please. I'd like to welcome you to the Gibson Museum and Cultural Center. And is this the first time for anyone? For me. All right, there are a couple of you. This is your first time visiting. Well, we look forward to your returning so that you can enjoy our displays as well as the things that we have digitally on our computer. We do have a Facebook page. It is C. Gibson Museum and Cultural Center, so if you haven't become a friend of ours, we encourage you to do so. When we were first established as a museum, we were done through the Lake County Historical Society. And so for the first 2 years, we operated as one of the museums that was run through the Historical Society. But this past month, the County of Lake has resumed being our parent, and we, the volunteers, how many volunteers, Gibson? If you're a Gibson volunteer, raise your hand or wiggle fingers. All right. We have been operated by volunteers, and we're really excited to be a part of the county because now we get a professional person who is into museums to help us catalog our materials and help plan our rotating displays. But one of the events that we began, well, it actually began in the 1940s with President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He had what were known as Fireside Chats. And we've determined here at the Gibson that there's some really good information amongst the people in our community and our area. So we started having Fireside Chats last year, and we're excited to present today Chief Gene Bates. Yay! But some folks have asked, well, how do we know what's coming up in a Fireside Chat? Well, luckily, we have our next Fireside Chat, and that's going to be on May 13th, and that's going to be with Chief Willie Cepeda. But today we are thrilled to have, were you the first paid fire chief we had? Yeah. The first paid fire chief in South Lake County in the Middletown area was Gene Bates, and he's going to tell us about his experiences there as well as who he is and what does it take to become a firefighter. So Gene, come on down.
I've lived up here since 1957.
Oh, okay.
In fact, I see some of the young lady here that I think I lived here before she was born. Anyway, I joined the fire department in 1962, and the first fire that basically the big fire that I went to was what we called the Widow Creek Fire. I think there's also another name for it, but we call it the Widow Creek Fire. We burned about 9,500 acres, come up through behind the Kelseyville, and I think there was maybe 6 or 8 houses lost during that fire. And I was I actually was working on the golf courses where I come up here for, and I'm thinking, why am I doing this? But anyway, I stayed with it. And then kind of went up through the ranks, and we had to, I just reading a lot of information about Middletown and the surrounding area. One of the fires that I was reading about that we had this was going back to the 1800s, but in 1860, they had a fire that came up through the Pope Valley, and for those of people who don't know it, that's where quicksilver, where they first found quicksilver in this area. And the quicksilver was a big business in this area for maybe 80 years or so. I knew a couple people that had mines up there, and it was quite interesting just talking to him about it. And then in 1868, there was a kind of a big battle going on. There was a kind of a battle going on between Lower Lake and Lakeport on who was going to be the county seat. So in 1967, in 1867, the Lakeport, where the courthouse was at the time, got burnt up and down and every around. And, you know, they thought that, well, the people from Lower Lake must have do it. Probably for 5-6 years this battle went on. But they never did find out what happened. So, anyway, Middletown's first fire in the 1900s, they had one in 1918. And it burned pretty much most of the town. And one of the things they did that a lot of the people did, not the post office, but the hotel was probably about twice the size of what it is now. And what they did, the hotel was first built in 1872, I believe it was. And they took a lot of the brick from that hotel and they rebuilt the hotel, and some of the surrounding buildings was all built with some of the brick from the hotel. But that's when talking with Orville Brennan, I knew Orville Brennan a little bit, not a lot, but I knew Orville Brennan. And that's when they first started talking of they having a fire department up here. They had a fire at Harbin Springs in 1900, took a lot of it out. Harbin Springs has been rebuilt half a dozen times. And Howard Springs, that was Harbin Springs. Howard Springs had one in 1929, so, and that kind of confirmed the Middletown senior citizens that they needed to have a fire department. So they got some stuff from the county, some little miscellaneous equipment to get them started. And between Orville Brennan, if anybody knew Orville Brennan, was a master guy when it came to fixing, if you had trouble with your motors, and also another guy his name was Richard Moore, and the Moore family is still, the grandkids live on the hill. They have Moore Winery and the Black Rock golf course as part of their outfit still. Anyway, they started building equipment, and in the meantime, they got a piece of land right behind where the present firehouse is. No, not where the present, where the tire shop is. And their little two-stall station, that's where they were there. And they built some other equipment as they went along. And then in 1939 and 1941, they bought their first used piece of firefighting stuff. They both were 300-gallon tankers. They had front-mount pumps, and they had to do some replumbing and other work that they had to do to get them running. I don't think either one of them ran when they got them.
Wow.
And so between Orville Brennan and there was somebody else in town, and his name's slipped from me right now. Anyway, they fixed the trucks up, got them running, and fully operational, and they kept them in the old firehouse that behind where the present tire shop is. Then in 1950, they went out and actually bought their own first brand new fire truck. That's when they bought that. And then they bought another one in 1952 and 1954 and 1956 they bought a couple more fire trucks. And the original district only concluded just Middletown. So then in early 1940s, they took in Anniston Springs into the district. And then in the early 50s, they took in all the rest of the area up and included Hobart's Resort. And they went down to the county line going down to Pope Valley. And they went and took in Hartman Ranch, which now is Hidden Valley. And then a couple of years later, they extended more, Middletown did, and they extended into going down to Harbor Springs, Holbrook's Airport, and they went about a mile down Cigar Canyon. So that was all part of the district. Also, in the meantime, Kelseyville took in Loch Lomond and part of the property going out, going up High Valley Road, Bottle Rock and High Valley Road. The only problem we had with that, we found out that Middletown actually had to go through the Kelseyville district to get back into the Middletown district. So we had a good mutual aid contract with Kelseyville. The all districts did. They all helped out each other. So that was no big problem. And the problem, and when I give you some of this information, they're not going to be in the date order because I just don't remember that anymore with the dates. But somewhere along the line we found, we were doing some checking, and when I say we, I'm talking about the fire chiefs in general, that some of the areas that were not in a fire district were the responsibility of the county. Of course, the county has no fire department. So they made a deal with forestry that they, and in the wintertime, forestry would always have a man on duty, and that would allow them to go to these fires. But some of them were so far out that we had a mutual aid agreement with forestry also that, you know, we could respond to them at the same time. A couple of good examples is for the people that remember the Wignall residents, and then the house just beyond them, I don't remember their name.
I lost it.
Anyway, Ruddens. That was two examples. We had a couple fire down Cigar Canyon, the same thing, that were basic responsibilities of the forestry at that time, but again, we all responded. And along in 1949 is when Middletown decided they needed a bigger fire station. So they made a trade with the county and got the piece of land where the tire shop is now. And the fire district gave the little shop and back to the county road department. The day that they were going to bring the bid, the people were on their way for the bids. They wanted the bids to be in their hand, to the districts, to the district people, and they two of the commissioners were on their way down from the hill,